All right, so today we are moving into Unit 4. We started this with finding greatest common factor and factoring by grouping. We're going to be moving into solving by factoring, and that'll lead us into working with quadratics. So we are here, write this down. When you solve by factoring, you are finding the roots of the function. So most of the time we'll be working with quadratic functions. Sometimes we can be working with polynomial functions, and we can look at that too. So roots here, and you probably know this term already, roots are equal to solutions, which are also equal to zeros. And those are also known as, on the graph, x-intercepts. That's what roots are. That's what you're looking for, is where it crosses the x-axis. So here are your steps for solving by factoring. You are going to factor completely. Okay, that was a visitor. Here are your steps to solving by factoring. Number 1, factor completely. Number 2, use zero product property to write two equations equal to 0. 3, solve both equations. And 4, write as a coordinate. So let's go ahead and work with this example here. F of x equals 2x squared plus 4x minus 6. We're going to multiply our a times c, which is negative 12. And then I'm going to split my middle term. So what multiplies to get negative 12 and adds to get positive 4? Probably 6 and 2. So we're going to do a positive 6x and a negative 2x here and rewrite. So we have 2x squared. So these come straight down just like we've practiced. And now we're going to factor by grouping. Group our first two, group our last two. I can factor out a 2x here, and we have an x plus 3. We can factor out a negative 2 here, and we have an x plus 3. So my factored form is 2x minus 2 times x plus 3. Now we have it in factored form. This equals f of x, right? But I want to know where's the x-intercept? And the x-intercept is when y is 0, right? So when y is 0, what are my roots? Well, we've already done the first one. We factored completely. Now I'm going to use zero product property to write two equations equal to 0. Well, I know if this value is 0, then the whole thing is 0. Or if this value is 0, then the whole thing is 0. So let's write our two equations. 2x minus 2 equals 0, and x plus 3 equals 0. And we're going to solve them separately. So we'll add a 2, 2x equals 2, divide by 2, and x equals 1. Subtract 3 over here, and x equals negative 3. So my solution is not just x equals 1 and x equals negative 3, but I'm going to write it as a coordinate. So when y is 0, x is 1. 1, 0. So when y is 0, x is also negative 3. So I'm going to write it like this. So these are my roots. 1, 0, and negative 3, 0. So let's look and see what that looks like on the graph. And here I've already put it in for us, 2x squared plus 4x minus 6. And you can see our zeros are 1, 0, and negative 3, 0. So we got the right answer. That's good. You can always check to find your zeros here. So here's a hint for us. We can find the vertex of our quadratic or our parabola. Let me go back to my notes here. We're going to write a hint to ourselves. You can find the vertex in the middle of the roots. So the x value of the vertex, the x value of the vertex, let's see, if we look at between 1 and negative 3, the middle of 1 and negative 3, between 1 and negative 3, let's be closer, is negative 1, right? Oh, look, if I follow negative 1 down all the way, that is my vertex, -1, -8. So I could take the middle of 1 and -3, that would be vertex X value is -1. I could take this -1 and plug it back into my function up here and do 2 times -1 squared plus 4 times -1 minus 6 and find my y value. -1 squared is 1 times 2 is 2. That's -4 minus 6. 2 minus 4 is -2. -2 minus 6 is -8. And that's exactly what we saw on our graph. So we can find the vertex by finding the midpoint of those roots, which is kind of cool. All right, so here is another example. 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. I'm going to go ahead and put that equal to 0 already. So we're going to factor our 2 here. So 2 times -3 is -6, and I'm going to split my middle term. So I want two numbers that multiply to get -6 and add to get 5. So I'm going to say positive 6x and -1x. And it doesn't matter which order you put it in. You could do the -1 first and then the 6. It's up to you. So we can factor out a 2x here, and we have x plus 3. And we can factor out a -1. Look at all these negatives that we have to pull out. This is great. And x plus 3. So we have 2x minus 1 and x plus 3. They equal 0. So I'm going to separate them. 2x minus 1 equals 0. And x plus 3 equals 0. Solve for this one by adding 1. 2x equals 1 divided by 2. I'm running out of room. And x equals 1/2. Subtract 3 here. And x equals -3. So my solutions are the points, right? So when y is 0, x is -3. When y is 0, x is 1/2. So these are my roots right here. All right, now is time for you to try one. So here's the you try. And you need to bring this back. Done. This is number 2. So we have a 2x squared plus x minus 15, and I'll go ahead and put equals 0 for you. So your homework is to do this you try and bring it back. All right, I know you can do it.